Hello and welcome to this introduction to the Lancaster Award. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's Hannah, I'm a careers advisor here and I'm part of the Lancaster Award team. I'm also joined by my colleagues Diane and James. Do you want to just introduce yourselves, Diane, first?
Hi, I'm Diane Richardson. I'm the Quality and Information Manager within the Careers Service and I've been involved with the Lancaster Award since about 2009.
Thank you, James.
And I'm James Perry. I'm the Careers and Employment Assistant for the Central Careers team and also a member of the Lancaster Award team.
Great. So today we're going to be taking you through this presentation, the introduction to the Lancaster Award. So we're going to cover obviously what the Lancaster Award is, and we want to tell you how you can complete it, and obviously we need to tell you those important deadlines that you'll have coming up throughout your degree. So what is the Lancaster Award? Well, the Lancaster Award really focuses on what you do outside of your academic study. So things like your volunteering, your sports teams, societies, if you do any work experience, any workshops, anything like that. And through that, you'll gain points. And there's different levels. So we've got a bronze, a silver and a gold. And depending on how much you complete, how many points you get, depends on the level that you can go for. But really, the Lancaster Award is an opportunity to practice selling your skills and your experiences to employers before you actually go and enter the real recruitment world and the graduate recruitment world. So there's lots of reasons to do the Lancaster Award. The first one, I think this is a really important one. The chances are that you're probably already doing activities that count towards the Lancaster Award. So you're probably going to be doing stuff already, so you might as well do the Lancaster Award. We're going to talk to you a little bit later about the types of activities that you can do and what will count. It's also great because it shows employers that you're making the best use of your spare time. So there's really nice holidays that you get, your free evenings, weekends, your free time within the week as well. And that's something that employers really look for, that you're going to make the most of your spare time whilst you're a student. And ultimately, we want you to strengthen your applications before you actually apply for graduate level jobs. So you'll receive lots of feedback, depending on the level, probably on your CV or your LinkedIn profile, as well as some feedback to written application questions and interview questions as well. And the whole point of this, the whole point of the Lancaster Award, is for us to increase your chances of being picked by employers. And that's why we think the Lancaster Award is really beneficial for you to complete. But don't just take my word for it. Students also really value the Lancaster Award. So you can see some quotes on the screen there from some students studying a range of different subjects. So you can see that it's motivating people to engage in activities more, strengthening their applications, thinking about the links and reflecting on the skills that they've gained, thinking about their future careers, and really just making them a more well-rounded person, which is really beneficial for your recruitment and generally for your life, increasing your confidence as well, which is really nice. And the reason why this is really important is because actually the recruitment process, the recruitment market for graduates can be competitive. You can see some things on the screen there. I don't know about you, these statistics fill me with a little bit of dread, thinking 70 applications per graduate vacancy. But don't panic, the Lancaster Award will stand you in really good stead to beat those other applicants for graduate level roles. And that's because employers really look for the kind of things that you'll do as part of the Lancaster Award. So you can see some employers on the screen here. Now, these are probably big employers, the bigger employers, but actually smaller employers, the council, public sector, charity sector, they will also really look for these kind of skills and activities that you've completed as well as part of your degree. So there's definitely beneficial from the employer's perspective as well.
So there are really two main aspects to completing the Lancaster Award, the activities side, which I'll come on to now, and the submission side, which we'll come on to a little bit later. So as you can see from the slides, the Lancaster Award has a point-based system, the activities has a points-based system, and there are 4 different activities that contribute to the Lancaster Award, which are work experience, volunteering, campus activity, and careers workshops. As you can see on the slides, there's a stipulation for a couple of them, which I'll come on to in a moment. And just so it's clear for everyone, when the award first started, you would have required to complete an activity from one of each of these sections, but now that isn't the case. We really want you to build the award around your own activities, your own career aspirations. So you may want to do 4 examples of work experience and no volunteering, and that's absolutely fine. It's really up to you how you build your award. So the first activities are the careers workshops, and these are generally worth 5 points. But if you're not sure, just contact us and we'll let you know how much they're worth. These don't need to be career specific, as you can see on the slides. This can be the digital skills certificates or the Ready for Lancaster pre-arrival workshops, and these will all count. Any that are careers related, we'll try to put on Target Connect to let you know whether they count towards the award. And as you can see on the previous slide, just one stipulation for the careers workshops, as you can only accumulate a maximum of 20 points from these workshops. So that's 4 workshops, count for 5 points each, and just to prevent you from completing the entire award just by attending careers workshops. Campus activities next, and these are worth 10 points. As Hannah touched on already, most of you will already likely be involved in one of these already, and these count for 10 points. These can include anything from society members, student ambassadors, course representatives, and most of these activities will be across the entire academic year. So you probably already have plenty of experience under your belt and material for coming to fill out your skills bank application. Volunteering's next, and these are worth 15 points, and you must complete a minimum of 15 hours to get the 15 points. This doesn't work on a pro rata basis. You can't get 5 points for 5 hours. You need to make sure that you do the full 15 or more. This can be anything in Lancaster, whether you've done something back home or abroad. But just on that, any activity that you started prior to university, you must continue throughout your time. So if you continued, if you did some volunteering before you came to Lancaster at home, you need to make sure that you continued that whilst you're at university. We understand it can be challenging at the moment, but organisations are still looking for volunteers. doit.org and government websites are a really good place to go for these opportunities. And the last activity is work experience. These are worth 20 points, and similarly to volunteering, you need to make sure that you do 20 hours minimum, so 20 or more hours for the 20 points. This can be any form of work experience. It doesn't need to be related to your future career aspirations. It doesn't need to be a placement or internship. This can be shop work or in a pub or bar on campus. You're still gaining great transferable skills, so they can all count towards 20 points. And like volunteering, this can be experience you've had at Lancaster, back home or abroad as well. In terms of looking for these work experience opportunities, we'd recommend starting at the Employment Recruitment Service. These opportunities tend to be on campus or in the local area, so your hiring manager will know that you're studying alongside, so a little bit more flexibility. So Unite Plus internships are an example, which are 140-hour sort of smaller project-based internships with local Lancashire SMEs. And these opportunities change and come up regularly, so we really recommend checking on the ERS website and making sure to follow them on their social media too.
Great. So once you have built up all of those different points, you've got to start thinking, what level am I going to go for? So there's 3 levels to Lancaster Awards. We've got our bronze, our silver and our gold level. And as you can see on the screen, the different levels obviously equate to different points, but also different amounts of reflection and work that we want you to complete after you have collected those points. So for bronze, we have 35 to 40 points. Silver is 45 to 60 points and gold is 65 plus. And you can see on the screen that we want you to complete different amounts of work depending on that. And Diane's going to talk to you a little bit later about these different types of work that you have to complete in more detail. But all of you will do an activities checklist. Most of you will do 3 competency questions. So for silver and gold, you have to do 3 competency questions. For bronze, you've got that choice between competency questions or the video interview. So bronze, you can choose to do the video interview. Silver and gold, you have to do the video interview. And then obviously for gold, you've got that extra CV or a LinkedIn profile that Diane will talk to you about in a little bit more detail later. However, if you are a placement student, let me just talk to you. So if you are on a placement year, if you're studying a 4-year degree with a placement in your 3rd year that's run through careers, so that's most subjects in there, we've actually got a placement pathway for you, because we recognise that your degree is slightly different because you've got your placement in the 3rd year and then you're kind of coming back in your 4th year and completing some extra things, but you've also got extra modules in there as well, some of you in your 1st and 2nd and 3rd year. So we wanted to make this as easy for you as possible to get the Lancaster Award. So your placement year is already worth 20 points. And if you are a management school student, if you're doing management 150, or if you're doing one of the other 150 modules as part of the placement year in the other faculties, then you can also gain 20 points for workshops just through completing those 2 activities. So really, for your if you're a placement student, you've got 20 points for your placement and 20 points for your module in your 1st or your 2nd year, which has already got you 40 points in total, which will qualify you for the bronze level just by being a placement student. Now, obviously, you've got different little levels, different little levels of things that you have to do. So if you are a 2nd year currently, you can see on the right hand side of the screen the work that you have to complete, and if you're a 1st year, you can see on the left hand side of the screen the work that you've got to complete if you're a 1st year. Now, if this sounds confusing, don't worry. If you're a placement student, come and speak to us, and we're more than happy to talk it through with you a little bit more. You can also talk to your placements teams as well, who will be able to help you with that a little bit more. But the reason why we ask you to do all these different things, whether you're a placement student and you're doing the placement pathway, or whether you're a normal student and just doing a traditional degree, is because this is the kind of recruitment process that you are likely to go through. Obviously, recruitment processes differ depending on the company, but this is the kind of process that you'll go through. And actually, the Lancaster Award covers quite a lot of these processes that you'll go through, which is really beneficial for you because you're going to be gathering feedback as part of that, which you can use to benefit you for when you're applying for your graduate jobs.
Thanks, Hannah. So there's 2 sides to the Lancaster Award, as we've already touched upon. So obviously there's the submission side, which James talked you through in terms of the activities, but then there's the written submission side as well. In a minute, we're going to talk you through what you can find on Moodle, but one of the things on there will be the activities checklist. And this is a really straightforward document to complete. And all we're asking you to do is basically to record all the activities that you've taken part in that you're counting towards the Lancaster Award. So we want to know whether it's a campus activity or volunteering, the dates of when you started it and when you completed it. It doesn't matter if you haven't completed the activity, it's fine if it's ongoing. We ask that you can include the contact details of somebody who can verify your participation in that activity. And then the final 2 columns are the point score. So the points for that particular activity, and the final column is the running total. And that's just really helpful to you because you'll be able to gain an indication of whether you're going to be able to apply for the bronze, silver or gold level. So when you start the award, you don't need to make that decision right away. Am I going to go for bronze, silver or gold? Just as you're progressing through your time at university, you'll be able to see what your points are on track for. One of the other things that you'll come across on Moodle page is the Lancaster Award Skills Bank. And in that skills bank, there are 13 skills. And these are the kind of skills that employers are regularly telling us within careers that they're looking for in their recruits. We change them all the time, so they're not always the same ones up there because we try to make sure that we're constantly adapting to the graduate recruitment market and the skills that are coming more to the fore at that particular time. So, for example, dealing with conflict and resilience are both quite new additions to the skills bank. So what the skills bank actually looks like, you'll find, again, it's a Word document and you'll find all 13 of those skills listed in there. As Hannah's already said, if you're doing bronze, silver or gold, you'll complete 3 skills. You just choose which skills you want to evidence. So really think about the kind of activities that you've undertaken and think about which skills they really demonstrate. So there's no point in trying to evidence a skill that you don't really have a good example for. Think through your examples first and then see how they match with the skills that are listed on there. So there's this definition of what the skill actually means, just for clarity, and there's a question as well. And we want you to then think about the activity that you've taken part in and use that activity to demonstrate the skill using the STAR technique. Now, the STAR technique is a really well-known tool used across recruitment, particularly in the public sector, but in the recruitment market as a whole. And it's a really good way to be able to frame your answers. So for the skills bank, for each skill that you evidence, we ask you to write 300 words, and it's separated out into the situation, task, action, and result. So to begin with, the first thing that you look about is the situation. So perhaps you're a member of a society, and that is quite literally what the situation is. I was a member of a society, and perhaps you were holding an event. So it's just briefly providing an overview of the context for the recruiter or us within careers to be able to read. And we're looking at that part of your answer to be about 10 to 15%. So 10 to 15% of that 300-word limit. The task section is where you really drill down and tell us what your individual task was. It's not a continuation of the situation section. For the task, we want you to be really specific about what your responsibility was here. So if you are a member of a society and perhaps society was running an event, what was your contribution to that event? Perhaps it was planning a venue or organising activities. So really drill down to your responsibility. And again, that's about 10 to 15% of the overall answer. The most important part of the STAR framework is the action section. And for this, we're looking at about 60% of your answer being focused on this particular element of the STAR framework. Within the action section, we want you to talk us through what you did, but also why you approached the task in that particular manner and how you went about it. So the how, what and why elements are really important in the action section. If you include those three elements, it gives the reader an insight into your thought process. So employers ask competency questions in the belief that past performance is an indicator of future success. And they recognise that you probably won't have the direct experience that they're looking for. But then if they can get an understanding how you deal with the challenge, how you deal with the task, they can see whether that will then fit with their organisation as well. So that's why it's so important to include not only what you did, but also how you did it and why you did it in that particular way. There are certain things to avoid in the action section, so certain language. Don't use phrases like I had to, I was supposed to, or it was necessary to, because they'll make it sound as if you're acting under duress, when instead you should be demonstrating your proactive approach. So keep your language really positive, really proactive. Also, particularly in teamwork examples, you want to say we did this because you want to give credit to the people that you worked with. But actually, in an application form, refer to I throughout instead. The employer wants to see your contribution, not the contribution of your teammates. And finally, the result element. This is about 15 to 20% of your answer, and really specifically, it's what happened as a result of the action. That was the result of the action that you took. So you can refer to things that you've maybe lessons you've learned for the future, and a slightly reflective element. But the main focus of this result section should be what happened as a result. So if you were organising an activity or an event, how many people came along? If you were fundraising, how much money did you raise? If you can quantify your result, that's even better. So how do we assess this skills bank? Well, we look at 4 different things. Spelling and grammar, that probably seems really basic, but actually we know that if employers specify they're looking for somebody with attention to detail, and yet your application has got spelling and grammar mistakes, that's a really easy way for them to discard your application. So that's one of the main criteria that we look at. We look at the structure of your answer. How well have you used that STAR framework? The effectiveness of your answer. So does it really evidence the skill that you set out to evidence? Quite often we see examples of teamwork that actually sound more like leadership or communication that sounds more like problem solving. Just make sure that if that header, the skills header, wasn't there and you were to read it without that, would you automatically be able to pick out what skill you're actually evidencing? And we look at, would an employer be impressed with your answer? So don't feel as if you have to have the most fantastic experience or activity to evidence that skill. We have had students in the past who've trekked up Kilimanjaro or been part of an opening of a bear refuge in Croatia. These things are fantastic, but actually quite often what you might perceive to be a mundane activity will give the employee the best indication of your skills. So one of the best skills I've read is teamwork, and it was evidenced by somebody in the hockey team. So don't undersell any of your activities, because sometimes they're just what an employer is looking to see. In terms of the grading for the Lancaster Award Skills Bank, we look at whether it's excellent, competent, further work required, or poor. We find that very often when we read the examples, they're competent, so they're good, but there are areas where they could be improved upon. But we will give you really detailed feedback and that opportunity to resubmit should it not pass at the first attempt. Sometimes we get some excellent ones, and that means basically there's very, very little work that needs to be done. It's of a very, very high standard. Further work required means you're nearly there, but not quite. And again, we'll give you really detailed feedback and the opportunity to resubmit. In terms of the CV and the LinkedIn side of the submission process, what we ask for this is that it must be up to date. So quite often when we get students submitting CVs, they might not have actually looked at them since they've been at sixth form or college. So we just want to make sure that it's up to date and that you are tailoring your CV for a graduate level role. So you're not aiming for a part-time role, it's got to be aiming at a graduate position. We know a lot of you at the stage that you come to complete this, you might not have a job in mind, and that's absolutely fine. Tailor it towards a sector or an organisation or something that is just of general interest to you. In terms of the Lancaster Award video interview, this used to perhaps be one of the least popular parts of the Lancaster Award, but actually it's one of the most beneficial given that now everything's has been moved online. It's a really good opportunity to practice your video interview technique. It is quite a difficult technique to get used to, and we've got ways that you can practice beforehand, so you don't have to submit Lancaster Award video at the first attempt. We can use some of our software to practice beforehand. For the Lancaster Award, where with the Skills Bank, we use competency questions. So those questions tell me about a time when you use this particular skill. For the Lancaster Award video interview, we use strengths-based questions. And this is because a lot of employers are now moving towards strength-based interview questions, because they tend to find that you can't rehearse them in the same way that you can for a competency question. So they get to see more of your actual personality. So a typical strength-based question might be, what is left last on your to-do list? What is one of your greatest strengths? What do others say about you? So those are the kind of strengths-based questions you'll come across in the Lancaster Award video interview. For this, again, as with the Skills Bank, as with the CV, should you not pass at the first attempt, we will give you detailed feedback and you'll get an opportunity to resubmit.
So when are your deadlines? When do you need to get each element of the Lancaster Award submitted by? So if you're an undergraduate, if you're on a traditional 3-year degree, the award is submitted in your penultimate year of study in June. So if you've got a 3-year degree, you'll need to submit in the second year, in the June of your second year of study. Any students on placement or studying abroad at the time of your deadline, you are given until October of your final year. And as Hannah touched upon earlier, there is a separate version of the Lancaster Award if you're an undergraduate within a year in industry, and there are various deadlines throughout the degree, your degree scheme. So if you're a little unsure, do just get in touch with us. Any postgrads, if you are a master's student, your deadline is at the end of June of your 1 year, if you're on a 1-year master's course. And for PhD students, you will submit in June of your penultimate year, but we are flexible on that as well. So as Diane touched upon in a few slides previously, all of the Lancaster Award information is located on the Moodle page, and these are the different aspects that you can access on Moodle. So you have assessment documents and guidance notes. So this is where, as Diane and Hannah mentioned previously, this is where you'll be able to download the activities checklist and the skills bank. And also each So bronze, silver and gold guidance notes if you're a little unsure and need some support. There is also an opportunity to have a go and have a practice before you submit your skills bank of a one skill submission. So before you submit your full Lancaster Award, just to give you an opportunity to practice having a go at evidencing one of the skills, and you'll get some feedback on that as well to take forward into your submission. There's also successful examples from the past and frequently asked questions as well if you need any further support. But again, if you have any other questions, please do get in contact with us as well. So how do you get onto this Moodle page? You need to sign up through the step-by-step guide that I'll go through now. So you'll need to log into the student portal, and then once you're on the student portal, you'll need to click on My Area. And as you can see on the slides, there's the desktop version, the mobile version there. Once you're in My Area, there is a section called Student Links. And once you've got Student Links, you need to click View More Items. When you click View More Items, you should come to an A to Z list of links, and the Lancaster Award will be in the list. So you click that link, and it'll take you through to the enrolment page that looks like this. So when you're on the enrolment page, you just need to click the checkbox at the bottom, which can confirm that you've attended a Lancaster Award session. And once you've clicked that, you can click on Enroll on the Lancaster Award. Now this will take a couple of days to come through, so don't worry if it doesn't come through immediately. If it doesn't come through for you after a week or so, do just get in contact with us and we will get that sorted for you manually. And also I should add that this will appear in your final year of study on Moodle, so you'll need to change the toggle, either the year, or you may need to change it on Future on the mobile version. So it won't appear in the year of study you're in, the current year, but the final year of study on Moodle. So you just need to make sure that you change the toggle at the top to make sure you get to the final year, whichever year that is for you.
Fantastic. I'm just going to load these last little bits up because I think we've lost connection, which is very strange. So I'm just going to load this last little bit up again, and we'll give you some frequently asked questions. Diane, do you want to start talking about some of them, if they want any help, maybe?
Yeah, so one of the things I can't stress enough is that once you've listened to this session, please don't feel that you're on your own in terms of completing the award. You can come back to speak to us, contact us through our email address for the Lancaster Award, which is laquestions@lancaster.ac.uk. Or you can book a one-to-one appointment, upload a query through Target Connect. However you want to get in touch with us is absolutely fine, and whether that's a question about how many points your activities are worth, or whether it's a question about the actual written submission side of it, the video interview, anything like that, please do get in touch with us. I can't stress that enough. In terms of some of the other questions that we regularly get asked as well is what happens if you sign up today, but a few months down the line you think that you don't have time to complete the award. That's absolutely fine. Non-completion will not appear anywhere when you graduate. When you do complete the Lancaster Award, the award will appear on your diploma supplement, but if you choose not to complete it, don't worry if it's still showing up on your electronic transcript. It won't appear anywhere upon graduation should you not complete it. And like I said, if you have any questions as you're progressing through, so you may be thinking about attending a workshop but you're not sure whether it will count, or you're doing work experience and you're not sure whether it might be voluntary instead, any question like that, please feel free to get in touch at any point. So just to go over again those ways that you can get in touch with us, you can book a appointment through Target Connect. So you'll see the list of different appointment types on there, and you're welcome to book one of those to speak to one of the careers advisors about the award. You can also attend any of our workshops because they will count towards the Lancaster Award, but they'll also help you in terms of writing your CV, preparing for a video interview. All those kind of things will be really helpful to you in terms of the submission side as well. Follow us on social media. We update all of that regularly. And also, like I said, if you have any particular queries, you can also upload a query to Target Connect as well.
Fantastic. So I guess the last thing to say is just thank you so much for listening to this presentation. Like Diane said and James said as well, if you need any help, please do just contact us. If you do have any questions at all, you can email us at laquestions@lancaster.ac.uk. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.